Okay, this is take two. We're gonna do this again right now because I wasn't happy with I talked for half an hour and then I realized that I did not have my screen on share. So I'm gonna redo this video. I'm just gonna let a couple more people come into the room and then we'll get right down to it, guys. This will be a better one. Okay. Okay, so I took a trip yesterday to Allegheny, Michigan, and I met with a group of people that go by the name of the Temple of Saqqara. The Temple of Saqqara is founded by Reverend Mary Hardy. And the story behind how this came about was that Mary and her family, Mary and her husband had, I believe, 2 children. And one of them, John, I believe their youngest, had a dyslexia and maybe some health condition. And she received a spiritual channeling of information that they had to build a pyramid to help him acclimate to this life, to this world, and that he I believe he may have some special gifts. I'm just getting to know him, but so that led them down the path of designing with a fellow by the name of Ken, who I believe was a well-known engineer and inventor. This pyramid, which is about 24 feet at the base, and its dimensions are very, I think, almost identical to the Pyramid of Giza, just a scaled down version. I was lucky enough yesterday to be able to go into this pyramid and actually spend time with Mary and some of her group in this pyramid. And I was not able to take photos. I was told to keep my phone away from it, that it's highly energetic, and I did so. I didn't take any pictures, and but I was there. I met Mary. I got to hold her hand. We spent time together. It was a beautiful day, and I felt quite a bit of energy when I was inside of the pyramid. We had a conversation in there. We talked about like kind of esoteric type topics, and and using the Earth's energy to heal, and we listened to some of Mary's stories, and it was a very beautiful experience. So this is a group that I think everybody who's interested in this type of thing about orgone energy, pyramids, ley lines, light work, anything like that. I think that's a really good thing for people to study, is to go to this website. They have an annual conference every year. They have a blog. There's quite a bit of work that's gone into this. So the pyramid is part of what they do there, and it's definitely a big focal point. But they've done a lot of studies over the years and worked with a lot of different people who've come along through the years regarding pyramids and how they operate and how the energy operates within the pyramids. And obviously, as you know, if you've watched my channel, I have a lot of interest in this topic, and things like sacred geometry, and that's exactly what these people are doing at this temple. They talk about some of the mystery schools that existed in Egypt. What was in the hieroglyphs in terms of probably everybody's seen this one. It looks like a lot of newer technologies that people don't believe existed back then. And it shows, the video goes on to talk about how the mystery schools taught people about resonance and things of this nature. And this was used to help construct the network of pyramids that exists in many places around the earth. So one of the big kind of theories about the Temple of Saqqara and Mary's teachings and so on and so forth is that they say, and this is the Temple Saqqara, they say that Stonehenge is like the control panel of the pyramid network and of the grid, right? So there's all these pyramids, like, the Great Pyramids, the pyramids of Giza, obviously, but there's many other pyramids, some of which we are aware of and others which we may not be aware of yet, right? Some are buried, some are below, some are deep below underground. Now, one of the interesting theories I've heard, listening to Cosmic Disclosure and some of these guys, is them talking about, like, matter of fact, this is crazy on Cosmic Disclosure. And I didn't even tell Mary this, but a guy by the name of Emery Smith said that, and Corey Good were talking about how there's, like, places where people have never even gone, like in out west United States, where there's pyramids and like Templar armor, way underground, like pyramids like you've never seen in America. Okay. That are, and it connected with the Templars. And like, this is years ago, I was listening to this and I'm like, wow, that's interesting. But here we are, here's, Mary and her group. And I haven't even explained to you about the Templars yet, because I'm just kind of bouncing all around. But so basically, they say that the Stonehenge is the control panel, okay? And the crop circles which appear are like a collaboration between etheric beings and people on Earth that have intentions. So, that makes a lot of sense to me, because I understand that, etheric beings, I believe they exist, okay? But I don't think they necessarily can do, just anything they want in our world, in our physical world. So I think we can collaborate with them, but they can't just do things on their own, maybe, or something to that effect, right? So kind of what the Temple of Saqqara teaches is that they teach something called the Holy Grail vortex. And I'm going to show you this video here. Unfortunately, I did this a few minutes ago. I didn't have the screen share on. Now I do. So I'm going to let this play for a moment.
How to create a vortex that is pure.
And Mary always says it's very important to ask the Earth's elders for protection and for permission and protection, but mainly permission.
From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. May light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose that the masters know and serve. From the center which is called the race of man, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the doors where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth.
So that's one version of it. There's another version over here. I'll play this one. It's a little bit clearer to understand. I'll play it for you real quick.
In the mind of God. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth.
Okay, so I titled this video, is what I titled this video. Holy Grail of Vortex on a Cup. So a couple months ago, I was watching, I decided I heard about Nightfall, which was on a show that was on years ago. I started watching it. And as soon as they started talking about the Holy Grail, I kind of got turned off. I'm like, is this show going to be about these guys running around trying to defend a cup that maybe Jesus drank out of, maybe didn't? But what was that all about? Why is it always about a cup? Okay. And when I came across Mary's channel and I heard her information and heard her immediately say the Holy Grail Vortex and talk about, all these cathedrals, right? And these, the things that the cathedrals themselves are resonance chambers, right? And the Holy Grail is a vortex, and it's a prayer, and and this is what it's capable of, right? And it involved pyramids, right? And I had heard the information from Emery Smith about and Corey Good talking about how there's pyramids way down in like the western part of the United States that with like mounds of gold and like Templar armor and stuff like that. I'm starting to piece all these things together, and it just felt like this was something I had like stumbled across something that connected a lot of dots in my journey, in my story, what I'm looking to do, what I'm searching for, right? So Mary talks a lot about cathedrals. She said that she was at the Notre Dame Cathedral 3 days before it burned, and that she was summoned, like channeled etherically. She has a connection with the Templars, and they told her to go to the temple and perform a prayer and I was a little bit confused about this, but like etherically move some statues around. Like I know that they pulled a lot of statues off that building right before it burned down. It was like, kind of like almost like it was planned. And so, she's been to many of these cathedrals and she's done, various things there. She's been involved in them. So, one of the topics that we talked about and that's been discussed is, obviously we talked about Stonehenge, but another one that, she mentions quite a bit is the Millennium Dome. So I think I spelled that wrong, but this made a lot of sense to me too, right? So this was actually, I misspoke in my last video. This was built in 1999, and apparently, this was designed with, several different purposes in mind. One of which is, obviously it's a dome. It's, it's used for concerts and sporting events. And I think the Olympics were here. But Mary says that this Millennium Dome was supposed to be like the modern day version of Stonehenge, like the New World Order, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call it. They actually built this to be the new control panel for their grid that they were building, which is obviously has a different purpose than the grid that's here, the one that we're talking about, Stonehenge and, and Giza and, these other pyramids that are connected to that system, right? So she says that she was here, and they basically had to do work to foil the plot of this group that was, that the NWO, Rothschild, Rockefeller crowd, whoever that was behind this plan to, resonate the earth from this location instead of from Stonehenge, and to change around the way that, things operate on this planet to some degree. So, a lot of interesting stories. She claims that the Knights Templars, which it makes a lot of sense to me, are basically etheric beings that they're non-physical. They can become physical. They can appear as a physical being, but they have the ability to be non-physical, and that they were involved in shutting down the Millennium Dome in the Y2K was going to be this great reset of the grid, basically, and that failed, right? And so, really interesting stuff. Like I really enjoyed reading her stuff, listening. And again, the Temple of Saqqara belief is that this is a control panel for the ancient pyramid system, and maybe some of the newer ones that align with the ancient pyramid system. I'm not sure if it's just pyramids that were built 5,000-6,000 years ago or more, or if it's newer ones, or like if, I believe Mary's pyramid is connected. So that this, you can, use your consciousness to move a crop circle, which you create by doing the Holy Grail vortex. So you do the Holy Grail vortex on a specific, with a specific thought that a group of 3 or more people are in agreement to, and it's something that doesn't violate the free will of anybody. It's something you've asked permission for from the elders of the planet, and then you do the Holy Grail vortex. If your prayers are answered, then the etheric beings will build the crop circle, and then you visualize. And then I guess I'm still learning this part, but you visualize the crop circle. Like there's a website that shows all the crop circles, and then you visualize that crop circle going over the Stonehenge circle, and that creates the resonance and the effect that is desired. So there's like a process to it, and part of the process involves the Holy Grail vortex. Okay, so again, what if all this propaganda about the Grail that we see on Netflix and on movies and stuff like that, and whenever there's the Knights Templars, they always want you to believe it's like a physical cup, right? What if it's not? What if wouldn't it make a lot more sense that the secret of the Templars, one of their big secrets, is that they have this evocation, this mantra, this prayer, this meditation, whatever you want to call it, that can and this ancient system set up. I mean, we're talking about the people that built all these cathedrals, all these temples, all these great places of worship, and the Temple of Saqqara talks a lot about how all these cathedrals were set up as resonance chambers for a good purpose, and that a lot of the ones that were bombed out and destroyed during World War II, the Rockefeller Foundation went in and actually changed the harmonics of them for their purposes to try to so there's like so many things going on in the world that we don't, we look at it one way. We look, it's a charity, it's a this, it's that, and they actually have some totally different purpose, right? And that's, so when she says stuff like that, I mean, that makes sense. That's the kind of stuff I've been studying, and I didn't know that, but it makes a lot of sense to me that they would try to do something like that, because that's the kind of stuff that they do. So why wouldn't the elites be messing with this stuff and trying to get it to do what they want it to do? If it's helping us and making us happier and healthier and promoting organic life, that they want to try to mess with it, destroy it, right? So a lot of this makes sense. I mean, it adds up. So I'll just go through a little bit more of this here. So this is, apparently Mary's and her group have been into Europe quite a few times. They've traveled all around Spain and France, and they've gone to many of the cathedrals and activated them and done the Holy Grail vortex in many of the cathedrals. Now, I don't know if this particular meeting was etheric or if it was in person, but she's been in contact with Templars through various ways, and they've guided her through a lot of this, a lot of the acts that she's performed and things that they've done. Another topic that I think is really important, and I had been studying before I met Mary and her group, is the tachyon field, right? I study that. I actually have a small setup here. I do some work with tachyon fields and meditation. And so, again, very, very interesting stuff. But a lot of this, a lot of the stuff about cathedrals, here's a I call this a labyrinth, right? And of course, everybody's familiar with the sacred geometry patterns and the rose windows, medicine wheels that are found in a lot of these churches. Even in your town, you might have one of those. They're not that uncommon. And another topic that is discussed quite a lot in the Temple of Saqqara is regarding the medicine wheel, right? And one that we've talked about a lot here is the Bighorn medicine wheel, which is in Wyoming, which, as you know, is right where the Yellowstone caldera is. And the story goes that this was set up to help kind of pull out some of that aggressive energy from Yellowstone to keep the sacred lands alive, because this tremendous volcano, had it gone off, would basically destroy the state of Wyoming and probably parts of other states. It would cover an ash. It's that big. It's the biggest volcano. So again, these natural earth consciousness involved sciences that, you know, the Indians understood, the Native Americans understood, the Mesoamericans understood, the Egyptians understood these things, and we have little or no understanding of it. You know, we're building, you know, we're putting up cement and asphalt on the ground and walking around with shoes on. Like, we're not connecting anymore. We're not connected to the earth. We're not listening to the earth. You know, I've been fortunate enough in my life to be able to reconnect after many years of ignorance. And I was able to go and do some ayahuasca ceremonies and really feel the earth's energy, like in ways that I never thought were even possible. You know, I was in a room with 15 or 20, well, actually 60 or 70 other people, but I felt like there was a vortex coming out of the earth that was so powerful that my heart was connected to. So I've had a few opportunities where I've actually got to experience that one way or another. And I can say, you know, I believe the earth is a living being? Absolutely, I do. I think it is. I think that's one of the big things that they don't want us to know in the mainstream. You know, there's so many things that are hidden, and that's one of them. So do I believe that the Native Americans could channel the energies out of Yellowstone and keep it and calm it down with some sort of a ceremonial dance? You know, I'm definitely in that realm of belief. So this is Newport Tower. You know, and actually I was reading a book. So I'll show you this real quick. There's a book that I just bought called the Templars in America. And it actually talked about this location. Now I lost my tab. Too many tabs. Let me pull it back up here. Yeah, I don't even know where it is now. But yeah, so there's definitely a lot of info out there that tie the Knights Templars into America. Oh, there it is. There's a couple books that are written that basically explain, like, I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen the Hudson Valley. There's another Stonehenge there. There's a big stone circle there. It's different layout, but the Templars definitely had an influence in America, and definitely before Columbus. I will say, I think they were here before Columbus, and I think we have not, as a society, maybe a few elites have really discovered all their treasures or all their secrets yet, because I think I mentioned this a couple years ago. I was watching Cosmic Disclosure, and they were talking, Emery Smith was talking about LIDAR and about how they went out west and found, like pyramids in deep underground, cavernous areas with Templars armors and gold and like treasures and things of this nature, right? So when Mary started talking about the Templars and connecting them with pyramids and resonance and energies and ley lines and stuff like that, I was already kind of on that path of like studying the stuff. And then she really, her group in the Saqqara temple really connected a lot of the dots, right? So, and there's a lot of information here, but, she talks about, have permission from the different facets of the Knights and how she's been bequeathed, been given information from them to, to help, to facilitate these positive things for not just humanity, but really for all living things, So, that's a quick overview. But she talks in the videos and a lot in person.
And he claps the standing wave.
In person about like the purpose of the Great Pyramid was to balance out, in the times of Atlantis, after the deluge, the flood, there was some sort of a mishap, right? And basically the Great Pyramid was built in a way that it kind of balanced out the earth and it kind of settled it down after a period of great turmoil. And that this chamber in the pyramid was, there was like a resonance coil here that moved back and forth to kind of like balance things out, like maybe like almost like a Tesla coil, right? And this is like where the idea for the Tesla coil came from. And at this chamber in the pyramid, you can actually still see the burn marks on the walls from the arc of the electrical arcs that were created from it. Really fascinating stuff. Also, very discussed and common in Temple Saqqara type stuff here is information regarding obelisks. And one of the things I didn't know, I mean, everybody's pretty familiar with like the classic style of, you know, like the Washington Monument is an obelisk, right? An upshoot obelisk. Well, there's also downshoot obelisks that are engineered in a way that they actually bring the energy down. And in the video, she describes that this one, I believe this is in Michigan, was so powerful that I guess the military like bought all the houses around it so that they could take it down, or, you know, they're, and that's the thing is like you know, I think that the military and a lot of these, you know, higher up groups do have this knowledge and understanding, and they just, you know, don't want it in everybody's hands. It's powerful stuff. It can be used or misused or, you know, misconstrued, and so they're keeping an eye on this stuff. But you know, again, Victor Schomburger, who I'm just starting to really learn about, but was a guy that definitely tied in a lot of the earth sciences and the vortex stuff. They say he was, you know, one of the fathers of the Bell craft, or the Nazi Bell, right? The alien reproduction vehicle. And so, you know, again, this is something that's brought up a lot in the Temple of Saqqara group. Crystal skulls, of course, you know, I've read some great stories about these, about how these can transfer consciousness. And there's a few, you know, good stories about crystal skulls being, you know, all kinds of mystic, you know, type of effects happening. And just, I mean, just the fact that the crystal skull itself, the physical object, is something that, just like the pyramid, the Great Pyramids, we don't currently, at least in the mainstream, possess the technology to create that. It's, if you read about crystal skulls, they are so, you couldn't reproduce it. I believe that a lot of the best ones are built out of a single piece of crystal, and it's like they're laser cut with like lasers we don't possess now. And so, yeah, that's fascinating stuff too. Here's a labyrinth park that I didn't get a chance to visit that, but I need to spend more time in Allegheny, Michigan, apparently. And again, lots of information about crop circles. So the Temple of Saqqara has had several hits where they've, you know, done some type of Holy Grail vortex, and they've actually had you know, what they believe is a response in the form of a crop circle. So they've been at this for quite a while, many years now, and they're, you know, very interesting group. So also, oh, okay, this one was in Tennessee, which is usually not where they're at, but Mary describes that the Salisbury Plain, the area around Stonehenge, is completely like Templars territory, you know, and they are, you know, again, they're mostly etheric beings, but they pretty much, you know, still call the shots in that area. You wouldn't want to be building an improper pyramid in the Salisbury Plain, right? And a lot of this, so there's a story that Mary tells about how when they built the pyramid, there was a military base in Michigan, not too far away, that was broadcasting at extremely low frequency that was designed to allow submarines to communicate in the ocean with, you know, underwater type ELF frequencies, so that submarines could communicate amongst each other. And that it was actually a very harmful frequency, and that it was detrimental to life in the ocean, and it would have done a lot of damage to in the ocean. And that her pyramid and the work they were doing in Allegheny actually balanced it out. And therefore, you know, the Navy came and visited and talked to her and like wanted to know about the pyramid. And, you know, they were kind of like undercover, and, you know, over the years, she said that naval intelligence has like infiltrated and kept an eye on it and stuff, you know, kept an eye on her group, and, you know, been involved, right? They've kept an eye on them, which of course, I mean, I'm a Q guy. I'm down the roadway, and, you know, naval intelligence seems like, I mean, I'm not saying they're 100% good, but it definitely seems like that's like where like the base of the white hat, you know, crew is these days, right? It's naval intelligence. So I'm not surprised that they're keeping an eye on her. But yeah, I mean, you know, pyramids are not tombs, guys. I mean, look at this. You know, this is one of the first pictures. It happens to be in her video, but I had seen this before, And, you know, another thing I started to learn in the Temple Saqqara just from going there one time is that these people really do understand energy. Like there was some people there that were highly tuned in, psychic. I could feel their energy. I met a few people that were very interesting that I just got a really good vibe from, that were, you know, I could tell that they were reading me. You know, it was very like, it was definitely a lot to take in for somebody that's on that path, right? And this is actually when they were constructing the pyramid here, very specific way that they did this. This was probably taken in the, imagine the mid 70s. And then I believe they got a patent on the shell of the pyramid of some sort. And they were describing to me, like I was asking a lot of questions about like those little orgone pyramids that I buy from Etsy, and and people were telling me that like a lot of those are not really a proper pyramid, and they're not, you know, broadcasting properly, and they actually could be doing more harm than good. And so it got me really like, got me noodling on that stuff, because I'm just thinking like, man, if I put crystals and pyramids everywhere, I'm going to be all set, right? Well, you know, when you really get with these scientific types that have studied this all their life, they're like, no, it's not quite that easy, buddy. You really got to know what you're doing. And again, obelisks, right? What's the secret of obelisks? I mean, I haven't studied obelisks quite as much. I mean, I know them to be, you know, in my world, it's like, you know, I look at, you know, the Washington Monument and, you know, the obelisks, you know, in the Vatican and, you know, and kind of like the cities of obelisks, like the three city states, you know, I'm on that path. I'm looking at that stuff, but there's way more about obelisks we don't realize. I mean, I believe the Washington Monument's the biggest obelisk in the world, and the top, you know, is made out of the top of it is made out of aluminum, right? So who knows, if there's got to be some secrets to that. Yeah, and I mean, I highly recommend. I really got to say, everybody should go to Mary's channel, check her out, check out her videos. You know, if you're interested in these type of things, you know, you're definitely going to get something out of it. You know, they're making the connection between Tesla and the pyramids here, making the connection with Stonehenge. You know, talking about the mystery schools, what the purpose of the mystery schools were, what the purpose of Egypt was. You know, what the ancient Egyptians were doing. All types of ley line information. And that's something I'm still trying to understand, is like how the ley lines actually function. I've seen a lot of conflicting information about that, right? I think I have my ley lines up here. Let's see. No, I don't. Let's see. I don't have them on this one, but let's shut that. So you know what? There's a lot of good stuff here. And, you know, it really got me thinking, like when I started to go down and look at, you know, why are they telling me about the Templars and the Grail? Why is it a cup? You know, is it really all about a cup? Is it really about, you know, Jesus had a cup? How good of a cup could that have to be? Right. That it's all about the cup. Right. But then I looked at the cup itself, like the actual Grail kind of started to look like a vortex in some of these depictions I saw, you know, and like, there's different depictions of the actual Holy Grail. Let's see if we can just find that. So look at this. I mean, some of these kind of like had a vortexy, you know, type of you know, like they almost look like a standing wave, right? So maybe that's the secret. You know, I mean, maybe these are all just artist reproductions, but it actually kind of looks like a vortex, right? So maybe, I mean, a Grail really does kind of look like a vortex in a certain way, right? It's got that kind of look to it itself. So maybe the cup is like a parable, you know, or something like that. And it was just a matter of time before, you know, we figured it out. But I just, you know, when I watched Nightfall, I was like, man, I feel like this is, you know, an inaccurate representation of what these guys really were and what they are. And I don't think they're gone. You know, I don't think that they've completely got wiped out or whatever. I think they were probably too smart to get completely wiped out, right? So them being ethereal beings, etheric, astral plane, you know, something like that, makes a lot of sense to me. Let's see if we can, where's our live stream now? Hold on one second. I close it. Oh, there we go. Okay. Do I need the split screen? Yeah, I can get rid of that. You guys like this better? There we go. Okay. The word, then the singing, then the vibrating. I didn't even know about sacred geometry before witnessing one after waking up. Yeah, who's ever had like a, have you ever woken up in the middle of the night and had like a really like a high vibrational, kind of feeling, and then like you're seeing all these geometric patterns in your mind? I get that every once in a while. I do get that a little bit. I get that feeling, like my vibrating feeling sometimes, like I'm definitely going somewhere. I'm definitely going somewhere far away. Absolutely. So that's my first video about this. I'll get more organized. But if you're into, if you're into crop circles, if you're into pyramids, if you're into Knights Templars, if you like cathedrals, and you're looking for answers, you're trying to tie it all together, definitely check out Mary. And, one of my other subscribers mentioned this channel. I'm not familiar with this one, but Mary in the Temple Saqqara. I'll just type in one more time here. Extremely interesting people. This is actually the Saqqara in Egypt, which it's named after, right? Which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but was a the great mystery school of Egypt. Fascinating people, fascinating lady. They've bumped shoulders with a lot of fascinating people over the years. And I definitely think that they have good intentions. Their heart's in the right place. They're trying to do something good. Mary is, I think she's 83 years old. She needs some people to come and step up and get the message out. And I told her I was going to try to help any way I could. And so I'm making this video. I'll put the link to her page in there. And I'd love to get, some people checking her out, signing up, and keeping an eye on this stuff. I think it's highly valuable information, and it's time for this to get out into the world, that there's these types of things. Yeah, and I do believe our body has the same power. Blockchain, I agree. I think we can generate the Holy Grail, the vortex inside of us, and I do believe that we can do that. So if anybody wants to throw any comments out there, I can take a few questions, or we can change it up a little bit. Let me know. Anybody ever had any crop circle experiences, any pyramid experiences, anything like that? Any cathedral experiences? Any flying rainbow lasagna experiences? I'll check this out one more time here.
Became unbalanced, collapsed, and cracked the earth, creating the Atlantic Ocean. Since the earth is a motor that must operate in a balanced field, this imbalance meant that the earth would wobble on its axis, and the energy it was producing would cease to exist. This would cause the beautiful blue-green orgone energy field produced by the earth's motor to collapse, and the planet would die. An ancient order of interstellar priests came to the rescue of the earth. First, they built a school called Saqqara to instruct the ancient Egyptians. The Egyptian students were trained on the nature of orgone energy, the science of levitation, how to construct pyramids, the Ark of the Covenant, and the rods of Ptah. By locating the central point of the Pangaea continental landmass, which was Egypt, they built an antenna system using the Great Pyramid. This system was designed to balance the earth. They also built Stonehenge to act as a control panel for this antenna system. Stonehenge, a vortex generator, monitors and maintains the tip and tilt of the earth. With this knowledge, the earth's magnetic field was brought into harmonious balance. When Mary Hardy first entered the Great Pyramid in 1980,
So there you go, guys. Mary Hardy, Holy Grail Vortex. Check her out, and let me know in the comments if you find anything interesting, and we'll do another video about it. So I want to thank everybody that stuck with me through not one but two videos, two attempts, and hopefully you like this one better than the last one, because you could actually see what I was talking about, not just me rambling. But I had a fun time. I hope you did as well, and hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much.